Module 3, Cutt Off. Written by Dr. George Tannous and narrated by Lydia. Greetings, welcome to lifecoachbootcamp.com. Important. Before you study this lesson, please watch this video. Why? Example. If you or your client are in a relationship and the other person displayed an attitude of not being truthful, you need to master and you need to educate your client the following. Confront and level. Assertive communications. As well as I feel good, PST positive self-talk. Make sure to answer the questions at the end and follow the instructions for submission. What is an impulsive decision? An impulsive behavior is when you act quickly with no thought to the consequences. There's nothing on your mind beyond that exact moment. We all engage in impulsive behavior from time to time, especially when we're young. As we mature, we learn to control our impulses for the most part. You might be asking yourself, I am not a criminal, why do I need to learn this? Well, the answer is simple. We are all humans, and Cutt Off is recognized by psychologists as a criminal thinking error. Study it, don't cut me off. Spiritual gurus and motivational speakers often teach us to not overthink. After all, overthinking gets in the way of the decision-making process. We often get tangled in our thoughts. We think about the future, the possible outcomes, the good and the bad, and we get stuck. The habit of overthinking is considered destructive and unhealthy, as it pulls you down, cripples you, and keeps you from moving forward. Overthinking not only elevates your stress levels, but also makes you frustrated and anxious. We bet most overthinkers would give anything to ditch the destructive habit. Being able to make decisions in a snap is something every overthinker dreams of. But is that a healthy alternative? Does anyone actually see a benefit from making impulsive decisions? In this article, we are going to discuss Cutt Off, one of the 8 criminal thinking errors that enables criminals to commit crimes. But before we move further, it's important to understand what exactly Cutt Off is. What is Cutt Off? We often read articles and news reports where criminals claim that everything happened all of a sudden. I wasn't thinking straight. I don't know how I came to the decision that I had to stab him. I don't know why I decided to mug that 20-year-old boy. We often hear cases where criminals display and express a huge amount of regret for their actions, but sometimes, even they are not aware of how they reached that decision. The habit of making decisions in a snap is one of the most common thinking errors among criminals. Impulsive behavior plays a crucial role when it comes to risky tasks such as breaking the law. Criminals are often drawn to indulge in tasks that render quick pleasure or promise instant gratification. The impulsive behavior is often powered by stress, arousal, temptation, and tension, but the emotions of contentment, joy, and pleasure are often mixed with these emotions. Why criminals make impulsive decisions? Have you ever wondered what differentiates a law-abiding citizen from a criminal? Why is it that some people stay away from crime, pay their taxes, follow the rules set down by the government, while others mug, abduct, torture, and kill? The answer is self-control. The law-abiding citizens have self-control. People who abide by the law are patient, able to withstand delays and practice perseverance. They are aware of boundaries, they have a clear understanding of what's right and what's not, and they are aware of the consequences of their actions. But in case of criminals, lack of self-control pushes them to commit crimes. They feel strong urges to indulge in acts that can cause pain to innocent people, irrespective of the consequences. In many cases, even though the criminals are aware of the consequences, they still choose to indulge in acts that are against the law. One of the most common factors that encourages criminals to make impulsive decisions is self-destructive behavior. The self-destructive behavior includes substance abuse, aggression, hatred, alcohol addiction, gambling addiction, among others. The impact of Cutt Off. The impact of engaging in violent crimes or law-breaking acts is never rewarding. They might make impulsive decisions and engage in tasks that harm others for instant gratification or pleasure, but it's usually followed by pain, guilt, sorrow, fear, and self-blame. Even the criminals that commit the highest degree of crimes are capable of experiencing guilt and remorse. One of the best examples is Stephen Dean Gordon, an American serial killer who was found guilty of abducting and brutally killing 4 women in California in 2013 and 2014. Though he was sentenced to death, his last words were truly shocking. He apologized for his crimes multiple times and admitted that he was aware that his acts were evil. He knew he had ruined lives by killing 4 innocent women, and he apologized repeatedly after accepting execution. Another case was of the serial killer McRae Edwards, the killer who targeted innocent children. After slaughtering many innocent children, he decided to turn himself in. He was aware that his actions were completely wrong. He knew he was indulging in monstrous acts, but he kept going on. After giving himself up, he gave the statement that he felt guilty for his crimes, but he could not resist the urges and compulsions. He had to act out on those urges. During his trial he attempted suicide twice. In addition to these, there have been many instances where people who indulged in the acts of crime, harmed others for a few seconds of pleasure, inflicted trauma on people around them for personal gain, or acted on strong impulses, led a life full of remorse and guilt. There have been many cases where convicts have accepted the punishment, even death sentences, without any protest. There have been numerous records of criminals who tried to end their lives because of the tremendous amount of guilt. We all act on our impulses from time to time. Sometimes, we make decisions without thinking, which sometimes works for us, but sometimes our impulsive decisions backfire. Sometimes we make these decisions because we need quick fixes, and sometimes out of laziness, we rely on our impulses. But when impulses force someone to break the law or commit crimes, it's never justified. The mission of this article is not to sympathize with serial killers or criminals who have committed heinous crimes and have ruined lives. Neither it is to justify their acts. The mission of this article is to inform that impulsive decisions never led to anything productive. The essay: please write an essay, up to 2 pages, about a past experience you had when you made an impulsive decision. Tell us in detail who, what, when, where, why, to whom, the time, the place of what you did, the outcome. And tell us in detail how you could have changed that use from what you learned today, so the outcome would have been good. Internalize this lesson. Make it become a part of you. Share your story in the forums. Our advice is to practice not making impulsive decisions for at least a week. Tell others around you to point out any event in which you didn't. Have them hold you accountable. Visit the forum and do a confession. What is a confession? A confession is when you've displayed a wrong behavior and were held accountable by one of your family members, peers, or even yourself. Visit the forum and tell us about it. We will give you feedback. Make sure to watch the video about confession for more details. Furthermore, become a member of the forum and give feedback to others. Read the article. Time to introspect. Do you make impulsive decisions? What keeps you from planning things carefully? Have you ever found yourself in trouble because of your impulsive decisions? What steps do you think one can take to overcome the destructive habit of making impulsive decisions? Do you think alcohol and drugs push people to make impulsive decisions? Do you take certain steps when it comes to making important decisions? What are those steps? There is no way any relationship will survive without having the qualities mentioned above. Make sure to read each article carefully at least 3 times. Print your workbook and answer all questions. Once you have completed this entire journey, you will be issued a life coach certificate, so long as you've been a member of the forums. Also, follow the instruction for sharing your story in our forums, as well as participating in our forums, especially our unique confessions forum, so you may gain practice, knowledge, experience, and expertise. I am thankful that you have given me this opportunity to share all of this with you. May God bless you and bring prosperity and peace into your life. Respectfully yours, George Tannous, Ph.D.